All right, so this is intro. I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is intro to nullsec. So this is just going to go over some basic skills that you can have to stay safe and make, while you're doing basic activities in nullsec. That might be a little bit different than high sec since you don't have Concord here to defend you. So Concord, if you're in high sec, like starter system, Concord is the police who will respond if someone tries to do some bad action. In nullsec, your only defense is your own guns and your friends. So the first thing you want to do is be in standing fleet. So if you're in catch is the region. You can look at that at the top left of your screen. It says GEHAV, and then it says the constellation. It says catch. So catch standing fleet is where you want to be if you're ratting mining, do even explo near the systems, or if you want to do some PvP, that's or help defend the space. That's where you want to be. If you're an impasse, you can be an impasse standing fleet. Right now, just we're at war, and so the two are combined. So you might see it as catch and impasse standing fleet. If you don't see a standing fleet, you can start one, or you can ask an alliance or corp chat for someone to start one. So being in standing fleet, this lets us respond to each other. And you're in comms, you're already in comms today for the class, so that's great. But for anyone listening, if you're in comms, that's how you're going to get people to come help us out or help you out if you're being attacked. I will warn you, when you're being attacked, often it'll be the fleet coming to get, if you're not in something tanky like a procurer, the fleet might be getting revenge for you rather than saving you. So just have that expectation. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and set up the ZS overview if you have not. So I'm going to link it here in Fleet. So what you do is you join this channel, the ZS overview channel. Everything okay? Yes, we're getting some big help killing rats here. And what you need to do, if you have not done this, you want to install the packs. The first, the ZS core. Then I think I like the ZS PVX. That means PvP and PvE. I don't know why they changed that. And then I like the ZS. Then you need to pick one of the layouts. I like the ZS standard 1BL. So what that does is it sets up your overview so that you have a travel tab, a combat tab, targets, miscellaneous, friendly, warp out. If you just installed it, right now you don't have a tab that actually can see any of the moon rocks or the you don't have something that can see the moon rocks. So what you can do is you can either add a tab that has everything, or you can add something that has just mining. So to do that, what you do is you hit the hamburger menu in the top left of the overview. That's like the three little bars. You hit open overview settings. There's a overview tab here, your tab name. You can name it mining. And then on overview preset, you scroll down and you can find there's a mining tab there. So I just changed mine to that.
That is a whole lot easier than how I did.
Amen.
All right. Well, that's why you're in the class. So what that lets you do, so on the combat tab is the primary tab you should be on. This is the tab that has major places to warp to and all the friendly citadels, and would also show you enemies, including rats, NPCs, or player enemies. The other thing,
rats are pirates?
Rats are pirates, yes. So
Cool.
anyone talks about ratting, they're talking about killing NPCs, pirates. And so also if you set up this overview, what it does is now it colors, instead of the default coloring where you saw like the flashing yellow or the flashing red that you might have been used to in high sec, So that talks about someone's criminal status. So criminal status does not matter in nullsec. In fact, many of your friends in Brave are criminals, and if you don't have your overview set up correct, you're going to end up shooting them. I did this myself when I returned to Eve, and or you'll shoot one of our allies, and it's a Diplo incident. You have to go say sorry to everybody. So have your overview set up. It'll tell you who is blue. If you hear someone's blue, that means they're your friend. If anything's in Brave, we are I almost said it wrong, but anything neutral, you shoot it. If it's gray, if it's black, if it's red, orange, anything that's not blue or purple or green, you can shoot. So that's okay. Just to go over the other tabs on the overview, we've got the targets tab. This one is drones. I actually never use this tab. I think it's kind of useful if you're trying to kill someone else's drones while you're in PvP, and if you're shooting fighters in a big strat op. But I don't use that one much. The miscellaneous tab is really nice for when you're looking for loot. It has the recs on there. The friendly tab is great for seeing how many of your friends are on grid. So we can see who else is mining in here. We can see FKF on this tab.
And on grid means the solar system, right? Like the current system.
So on grid, okay, so the grid is a I don't think it's constant, but something like a
300 kilometers.
300 kilometer range, but no, it's bigger than that. It's
far bigger nowadays.
Farger, do you know? Is it 10,000 kilometers?
No, I mean it can go up to like 25,000 kilometers depending on like which direction the grid gets pushed in. But yeah, it's very large.
Right. So anyone who is on grid that we can see, like there could be someone undocked at the soda factory, which is the Fortizar, and we wouldn't be able to see them because they're not on grid. So the only way we'd see that they're in system is local. So that kind of transitions me to, well, I'm not done with overview, sorry. So the warp out tab is also very good. So if someone's trying to kill you, you can click to or you have been killed and you're on your pod, you click to the warp out tab and you just select anything and you hit warp. So these are all things that you can warp to. So that's kind of the real basics of the overview.
Is this overview saved for next time I log in? And are there other like warp out points saved in other solar systems and shit?
Yes.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, so that's like the very basics of the overview. I'm gonna check my notes. One more thing on there. A lot of people like to play with show all brackets on. So like on the combat tab, you hit the hamburger menu with the upper left button and you hit show all brackets. And so what that does is it I just hit mine and it turns the recs on and it shows the little figures of where all the ships are. It makes Eve a little uglier, but it's a lot easier to play and see what's happening around you. I will say, because there's so many huge fights like today's Keepstar fight, you want to turn that off before you even get in that fight. So you want to hide all brackets. Same way we did show all brackets, you want to stop showing all brackets or even hide all brackets. Okay, so now I'm done with the overview. All right, so the next thing you want to do is for your own intel is you're going to take the local channel, and if it is currently nested with the other channels, you want to pull that out so it's all by itself. Then you want to shrink it down and ignore all the silly chat and local chat. It's usually just people taunting each other. Feel free to talk in local if you want to, but stay classy. And then, so what you're going to do is you're going to use this to see if this tells you everyone who's in system, even if they're bad. So what you can do is first you want to do member list settings, which is the little 3 people in the upper left-hand corner. You want to show member list and show compact member list. So that makes it nice and compact. And if you scroll down here you can see everyone is blue in system, so there are no enemies. And one reason it's suggested not to rat or mine in GE is because it's always so populated, it's hard to keep track of this. But what you could do is you could expand this all the way out. So I just pulled mine down. It's the whole height of my screen. And you can see everyone in system. And so if one person more came in system and they were neutral, you would know that. So this is your best intel tool. It's best if you're going to rat and mine. It's best to find a system that has few people that you can keep track of, and then you'll recognize as soon as someone else comes in system. Another tool, I think, is it Alt-A?
Control-A.
Yes, if you hit Control-A, it highlights everybody. So then, say you're watching Netflix, because that's a popular activity. If you had just done it, you see that Arcade Elera just came into system, and so that changed, and so that is now dark. So if you hit Control-A, that can kind of help alert you to if anything changes in the system.
It's real good for a lot. If you have a lot of population, it'll let you know when someone new comes in.
So
it won't be highlighted.
I hit Control-A and it didn't do anything.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
You have to be in, I think you have to click in the local member list part of the bar and then do Control-A.
Oh, I see.
So that is the best tool for keeping safe, like the most basic thing. All right.
So it pretty much shows if somebody's in system and they're docked or not.
It doesn't tell you any information about if they're docked, but as soon as they come into system, before they even load, they'll show up there. So then, even if they're something quick, you can make, if you don't have much money and you want to be really conservative, you can say you're Vexor ratting or VNI ratting. You can pull your drones, align to an Astra house, and warp off immediately. Or if you have a little bit more money and you're a little bit more sure of yourself, you can just align and start pulling your drones. And then maybe they'll fly, they're just exploring, so they go through the system. So then you can go back to your orbit and keep ratting. Or you can just be like, you can show, so the other thing you can do is you can show info on people. So if they're neutral, you can hit show info. You can look at, their corp status. You can use Z-Killboard. These are all kind of more advanced things, but Z-Killboard, you can see if that person kills a lot of people, and you can say, oh yeah, I'm definitely docking up. But I'll go over how to do the Z-Killboard thing later. So if you're broke, I think you find a quiet system, which is 3 or 4 jumps away from GE, and I'll go over how to find those. And there'll be almost no one in it. And just, if you don't have much money, just dock up when you see a neutral enter system. That's going to be the most sure way you won't die. All right.
You said something about they'll be grayed out. What does that mean?
I guess I meant neutral, like they'll be gray or black, like instead of blue or green or purple.
Yeah, I was talking about the Control-A thing. I see a bunch of red, and then a few names are grayed out.
Okay,
we just had a new pop in the system.
Yeah, we did. So Jamar, I'm not sure what you mean red.
Like there's a red outline around them. When I hit Control-A, it put a red outline around everybody but a couple people.
Okay, that might be I have like the dark setting, so maybe it has something to do with how you have your display settings.
It might be the layout thing, because mine's all gray too.
I was just wondering about the Control-A thing again. I didn't really hear what you said very well.
Okay, I'll go over it one more time. So click in the member list of local, then hit Control-A. I'll just say it highlights them. I don't know what color it is on your screen. And then if someone else comes in the system, they will not be highlighted. So
Okay.
that difference will help bring it out to you. I actually don't use that tool that much, but that's because I usually watch Netflix in a smaller window on the same screen. But like other people might kind of do that so they can catch it in the corner of their eye. Okay, I'm going to move on to Intel channels. So these are the kind of the next best thing you can do to keep yourself safe. So if you're in catch, you want to be in this chat channel. If you're in impasse, you want to be in this chat channel. And so go ahead and join int.catch if you have not.
Aren't we already in catch?
Yes, but if some people might not be in that chat channel.
I see. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't. I'm an idiot.
Okay, so so how you do reporting in I think Vicious 3101, everyone should have seen him. He just reported galactic failure in 3GD6 TAC 8. So he put the person's name, the system, and then if he knows the ship type, he puts that. If he does not, he says no visual, NV. So one way you can do is you can just watch this channel and you can look for, if you get to know the systems around where you are, it'll give you a heads up that something's coming. But watching the stream is a little bit more difficult. So people have developed a tool that I'll link here. If you click on this tool, sorry for the stream, you'll have to go to intelmap.xyz. You log in. And so what this does is it actually gathers all the information that people are putting in .catch and it sums it up. And so you could just watch here and it actually highlights where things are reported. So if you zoom in, you can see the GAJV has not had anything reported, whereas 3GD6 TAC 8 is orange because it just had somebody reported. And you can highlight over that. You can also use this tool to see how many kills have been in a system recently. So if you're going to go through, if you want to come from Keber's Gate, which is often camped, you can check there to see if there's been kills in the last hour. It's not foolproof, but this system, like if all of us are reporting intel correctly, which we should all do every time a neutral comes into the system, if someone else hasn't reported them, then you will, if you are in 4M TAC or 3GD68, you might see them, first they'll be in 3TAC-0, then they'll be in 3GD6, and then they'll be in 4M. So you'll see the people coming. If you're in a Venture or a Vexer, it's not as important because you're not losing much. Our friends in much bigger ships, they're watching that intel tool much, much more closely. I actually don't, full disclosure, I don't fly that blingy of ships when I PvE, and I don't use that intelmap.xyz, but that's like the next level of keeping yourself safe. I will watch, I will click over to the int.catch and int.impasse. I docked up and I'm putting ore, so let me just undock and get back on the field. So Fleet Chat is also, it's an okay place for intel, but mainly for in Fleet Chat, you want to use it in combination with comms. So if someone is tackled, they will say, if they're tackled by or have tackled an enemy, you should be, first of all, if you're in catch standing fleet, you should be in catch 1 comms. And if you could stay and listening to them. If you can't, drop down to catch 2. So those 2 channels are linked. And if you've set up your whisper and shout keys properly, then you can shout for help. So if you are tackled, what you do is you say, Jinx is tackled by an interceptor. X isn't fleet. And now people know what's got me tackled, and they can warp to me because we're all in the same fleet. If you just type XXX in fleet and you're not in comms, no one's coming to you. I mean, it'd be great if all of us warp to everybody, but what it can end up happening is if there's I forget what the goons used to always bring, but if there's 50 MOAs on you and you say XXX, they're using you as bait, and everyone's going to come in and die.
Can I, for a second?
Yeah.
The three main things we want to know in standing fleet or armada are: where are you, who are you, and what is on you. So, who the fuck in Inkrell tackled by Retribution? X is in fleet. And then everyone's going to immediately get a route to Inkrell. They're going to move, and once they're in system, they're going to right-click your name, fleet, and warp to member at range.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot to say system.
If we die, can we save a location that others can see and warp to?
So if you die, they could still warp to your pod, and if they, but it's possible to do that in Eve, but it's difficult. You'd have to like share corp bookmarks. Everyone should know how to make bookmarks for themselves, though. So I'll just go there. So everyone hit Control B. And so what that does is this lets you save a bookmark wherever you are. To warp to a bookmark, you have to be 150 kilometers away from it. So if you're ever in a place in space that you're like, this is true around gates or stations a lot of times. If you're 200 kilometers from a gate, it's good to be able to warp there later. That's called a tactical. So just go ahead and hit Control B, and now you have another place in the system that you can warp to. So say there's some neutrals in system, you're worried they're on the next gate, you warp to that tactical that you've saved previously, and now you're and you get to look down at the gate and see, oh yes, they are there, or no, they aren't. Whereas before you would have warped to the gate and you're just kind of rolling the dice if they're there or not. So if you can name them and then you hit just submit, and it'll add it to the overview. I mean, over to your bookmarks. Yes. So if you are mining, there's the easiest way to drop off your ore is if next time you come out of the Brave Dojo Titan factory, you immediately hit Control B and make a bookmark there, because then you can warp directly to the undock and dock up. Right now, you're too close to, because of the station's radius, you're too close to warp to it. If you're, I'm lazy and I haven't done that for all our Athenors, another trick you can do is if you add the Upwell Moon Mining Beacon to your overview, you can warp to 30 on that, and it usually will get you in the docking ring. FKF, we got rats since you warped off.
I got you.
Balfour Gantry has them.
All right, so fleet chat, again, you can, if you're not in comms and everything, and this happens to everybody, you can try to communicate there. Sometimes it's good to report, like if there's a whole fleet coming through your system and they're heading somewhere, you can report the fleet, that in fleet chat, in addition to the intel channels. That's usually good. If you are going to report a fleet, or if you just want help, it's good to use this tool. Oh, and it didn't work. This is dscan.me. So what this does, what dscan does is it scans the system out to 14 AU, I believe. So that's the probe scanner. So if you hit Alt-D or hit the probe scanner, the scanners, and then it's on the right, the directional scanner, you can set the range to 14 AU, the angle to 360. I use the PVX basic filter. You can hit scan. What this does is it shows all the ships, all the ships that are within 14 AU. You can Control-C that entire list, paste that into dscan.me. That gives you a custom link like I just linked here. And so anyone, this is particularly useful in fleets, anyone that wants to know what's around can look at this and say, oh, look, there's 2 procurers, 2 ventures. So this doesn't look too threatening. Whereas if someone's moving a whole bunch of capital ships around, it'll say like, there's 100 dreadnoughts. So they won't go take caracals to go fight them. So that's another good tool for sharing intel, not as important for keeping safe. The last one is more about choosing places to be safe and where you can rat and mine. This is Dotlin. This is what the in-game map should be, but it's not. So it's kind of a graphical map. I don't even use the in-game map because Dotlin is just better. So wait, I want you to focus on, I use the hashtag SOV. It says catch hashtag SOV. And so what that does is it highlights that the brave systems. So you can see and on my screen, they're green. I'm not sharing this on the streams, on the video, I apologize. But if you go to this link, you'll see the ones that are green, and it's kind of on the left side. You can find GEHAV. So that is our home. And you can see the different systems that we own and catch.
Are you streaming this right now? And should we be watching the stream? Am I
I'm not
retarded?
streaming. No, I am recording video, and you could come back and look at it.
Cool, thank you.
I'll try to add some of these images, but it's hard for me to switch between the game and the
I am streaming
and my
if you
browser.
watch.
Yeah, go ahead and link your stream. That's cool.
I was just kidding, man.
No, I really have no problem with that. I'd like to stream. I don't have the hardware for it. It's like melting my computer to even record it. Okay, so picking systems to rat and mine in. So for mining, really, if you're just starting out, I would suggest following the Moon Goo timers, which I'll go over a little bit. So those kind of are only in certain systems. The majority of them in catch are in 4MTAC or YHN. And then Dojo has a couple that are active during the week. The Dojo Blood Moon and the Dojo Titan Factory. Those are both in GE. If you're gonna rat, if you're gonna mine asteroid ore, I think HB TAC 64T, and you're hearing me say TAC for dash, and that's just for clarity on comms. So HB TAC 64T, I think there's some mining there. There's ice mining there. 3GD68 is good for ice mining as well. For ratting, picking a system that's a few jumps from GE is usually the best. Picking one that's out of the way, so not directly in a pipe system. Like if you look at AX dot, there's only 2 gates. Mux, there's only 2 gates. So that's a pipe system. So you'd be a little bit safer in something like 7LHB, 4MTAC, HGL, or HPTAC 64. So those systems are a little bit better to rat in. If you look at this version of the map, ADM, the systems with higher numbers that's telling you that there's more activity there. So that could give you a hint that more people are doing things in those systems. But GEHAV, a lot of people are ratting and mining. I mean, we're mining in it right now, but it should be considered more hazardous just because the number of people are coming to GEHAV looking for fights. Thanks, FKF.
Hey, a lot of the guys in here are like terribly new to the game, right?
Oh yeah, I've been playing for like a week.
Do you know about the tactical overlay yet?
I have no idea what that is.
I was just bringing that up just in case you wanted to go over that as well. I figured it would kind of fit in with the. I don't know if you were going to go over it.
Not particularly, but I can. I actually don't like
D
it.
to turn it on and never turn it off again, and don't listen to Jinx.
Oh shit! You mean like the like circles around my ship? Yeah, I've
Yes.
kept that on since day one.
Yep, good call.
It's too ugly for
Cool.
me.
No, shush. You shush, Jinx. You shush.
I do
You're
turn it
trying to
on.
make the space game look pretty, fucking all the brackets and tactical overlay and all the information all the time.
Spreadsheets in space, man.
Yeah, for PvP, having tactical overlay on is very important because then you know if you turn it on, it's Control D. It's the left button underneath your cargo. You can see ranges. It'll also tell you like the range of your weapons. So right now I have my mining turrets, and you can see the dashed red lines.
So you don't play with the tactical overlay? Is that what they were saying?
For PvE, I usually don't. No, it's ugly.
You probably play with that with the first person mode on, don't you?
No, I do not.
Does anybody actually use that for anything at all?
Sometimes if you get stuck in something, it's good to use the fly out. It's easier when you're in first person view if you're stuck inside like a building.
Well, and I have a spaceship piloting fetish, so I use that whenever I masturbate. But moving on.
That'll be on the recording forever, just so you know.
Dear God.
I think he uses a thumb too.
Oh Jesus! Stay
I live
classy.
in infamy. Sorry.
Okay. So that's pretty much the super basic information for staying safe. So then the next question people often have, in brief, I'm going to talk about how to make ISK. So the number one thing that people do is ratting, and what we suggest, you can do destroyer ratting in belts. It's really, really terrible. So most people say wait till you can get into the Vexor. Dojo has one free Vexor Nubro edition, and actually right now we'll give you as many as you need, but it might go back to one soon. And then as soon as you can afford it, go into the Vexor Navy issue. That's kind of the nullsec standard. I actually hate ratting, so there's many other things you can do. Exploration is something that it's very good in catch. We have intact armor plates, but the problem is it's more of there's a little mini game of hacking, and sometimes you get nothing, and sometimes you get 100 mil worth. And then once you've got it, you're in a really squishy ship, and you have to get it back to home, or at least to a brave station so you can sell it. So it's best for exploration not to consider that you have made money until it's returned home. Bernard pointed out that destroyer ratting in belts can be good for learning spiral tackling. That's true. You want to look up spiraling in as a tactic like on YouTube. That's good for tackle piloting, and you can talk to Vargar about that. He's got class recordings on how to do that too. Some other activities you can do is gas huffing. So I sell drugs, and that takes gas huffing, so you can talk to me. There's classes recorded about that. Talk to me about that some other time. We have kind of like a SIG that does wormholes, that does ratting in wormholes. Moon mining is amazing ISK. Even if you pick the very best ores called R64, there's those come out occasionally, and even in a venture, it's incredible ISK. But the moon mining, the moons pop about each moon pops probably once every 2 weeks or so. It's set by the corp, and then it's only available for 48 hours after it pops. So you have to look it up, and again, there's a class on this. You have to look it up when those pop or hear about them, and then show up at the moon. So like this moon will be available for another 24 hours. And this one is one of the middle moons. There's much better. Industry, you can make a lot of money. Brave blows up a lot of ships, and we have a pretty good market, but we always need more people getting involved. So industry and importing, there's a lot of ISK to be made. In Slack, if you're interested in industry, you want to join Indie Bros Public in Slack, those guys will definitely help you. If you're Omega, you can do planetary interaction. If you're at risk for carpal tunnel, don't do it. but they just made it a little bit better, and you can make a few hundred mil a month with a few characters doing that. Some people do earn money on alts, doing like high sec station trading or incursions or faction warfare. There's also the abyssal space, but I don't think people have reliably made a lot of ISK that way without putting very expensive ships at risk. So I don't really recommend it for new bros. So that's kind of the end. The Fleet 101, I usually go over the Fleet tab. I did promise I'd go over the History tab real quick, so I'll do that. So if you hit the Fleet Finder, which is the chevrons on the left, you can see my fleet. If you go History, this History window, if you're in any kind of strategic operation, fleet, this is where information pops up. So if you hear someone said, I broadcast a target, it looks like if you're on grid with me, close to me, you can see me broadcasting the Athenor as a target, or I can broadcast it as a line 2, or broadcast it as warp 2. I didn't actually, you couldn't see the target when I did it because I'm a Logi pilot and it's not showing. So now I turned it on, so it shows up. So there's a lot of cool color coding you can do for this information. This is also how you would broadcast for reps. If you're up, you'd see that I broadcasted for shield. So if you're dying in a fleet, you can broadcast for shield, and that's how logistics knows to heal you. But this is very, very important for strategic operations, big fleet fights, and it's used some in standing fleet, particularly like the broadcast for reps. But that's kind of the end. If there's any questions, please ask. Oh, actually, let's go over the buyback. So if you're moon mining with us, go ahead and warp to the station. I keep on trying to end it, and there's more to do.
What if we're not moon mining? Like, do you mean currently, or?
I mean, I'll go over it. If you have, you can sell anything to the buyback, so that's the beauty of it.
Yep.
So the different buybacks are listed here. For the moon mining, I'm gonna go ahead and use Alvantis. They'll buy anything for 95% G to buy. And you're taking a little bit of a hit because it's G to buy, but it's worth it just for the speed of the ISK. So what you do is you dock up, you have your item hanger. You need to put it in list mode, which is the far right button. That's the item hanger far right button, just below the X. It's the list mode. Go ahead and Control C the chromite. Copy paste that into the Alvantis form, and what it does is it gives you a buyback value and a quote number. So you can right click on the chromite, create contract, item exchange, private, Alvantis Innovations. I spelled it wrong. And it'll say pick items, click through. So then on the quote, you pull the quote number they give you, copy that, you put in that description, this is optional. And then it says Alvantis buyback value, copy that into the I will receive. So hit next, finish, and they accept these contracts about more than once a day. And so in one day, I'll get 14 mil ISK from just what I mined during this class. So I rambled for 45 minutes. I'd like to answer a few questions and then cut it off.
I don't really have any, except for if you could walk me through the contract again, because I had to come back to the soda factory for it.
Yeah, I'll do that after the end of the recording in a minute. The other good thing to note if you're not in Brave Dojo chat, you definitely should be. This link has the different Dojo programs, so please take advantage of the free stuff. I hear from some new bros that have nothing to their name that they don't like to take things from people. The Dojo is set up to make you enjoy this game, get over this steep learning curve, and then when you're space rich, you can pay us back. But you don't have to. So please do take advantage of these programs. I mean, like the skill book programs, I've heard new bros say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go find the book on market," and the whole point is that's a pain in the neck, and so we're trying to make living out here easy for you.
Neat.
Any other questions?
Yeah. What are the odds you can edit out that bit about my space pilot fetish? I'm kidding.
I probably can, but editing.
No, I'm proud.
Okay. Editing it, finding it is a pain, so it's easier just to copy paste it in there. Yeah.
You said Control C after selecting Chromite, right?
Yeah, make sure it's in the list view.
How do you compress ore?
So moon ore cannot be compressed, and regular ore can be compressed in a Rourke compression array or in any Citadel with a reprocessing rig. And the way in Brave Space that you know it has a reprocessing rig is it says -R on it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But moon ore can't be.
Yeah, every time I do it, it links my entire chat window.
It may be because you're not in list view. So on your item hanger, can you see the image of the ore?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not in list view. So then go above the search tab on the far right and hit list. So it should only be text at that point.
Oh my god, that's so much better. I didn't know that that was possible. Thank you.
No problem. All right. If anyone does not have PvP ships, I'm gonna, after the recording, please come get them. Ask in Brave Dojo if you need more ships.
Where do we come get them?
The soda factory is where we do most of our handouts.
Cool.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording. Thanks for coming, guys.
Wait. I have one more question.
Go for it.
Why did my dad leave?
Please tell me you're still recording.
I am.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't know what to say.
Have a good one, everybody.
He didn't know a good thing when he had it.
All right.
Thanks, man.
See you guys.
Thanks for